Hi everyone, how are you? Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Julia and I'm currently the president of Crazy for Cabbage. Today we are going to take a look at Cabbage itself and how we plan to promote the integration of cabbage into a healthy lifestyle. But first, I just want you to take a moment to truly think about cabbage and what it means to you. What does it remind you of? And what do you think of first when you hear the word cabbage? So just take a moment to think about that and keep that in mind during the presentation. Maybe I'll change your mind. So here at Crazy for Cabbage, we actually want to change minds. Perhaps the identity of cabbage can be seen in the cabbage soup diet or even St. Patrick's Day. So it's for weight loss or either a holiday once a year kind of vegetable. But we want to change this. We want people to see the health benefits and just other general benefits that cabbage has to offer and how they can incorporate into their healthy lifestyle. Because it actually can be. So before I get into the meat and cabbage of the presentation, I just want to give you some background information on cabbage. So here we have the scientific name of cabbage. The first part is the genus and the second part is the species. So it's part of the genus Brassica. I guess that's how I would pronounce it. Cabbage is also a cruciferous vegetable, and interestingly, it is one of the oldest vegetables known. So cabbage has been around for thousands of years, especially in Poland is where people enjoy eating it. And there are also over 100 different types of cabbage. For example, we have red cabbage, green cabbage, Savoy cabbage, or Chinese cabbage. So cabbage itself is available all year round. It likes cool temperatures and it doesn't like daytime temperatures above 80 degrees Fahrenheit, just so you know. 78% of the nation's total cabbage, which is the United States, is produced in California, Wisconsin, New York, Florida, and Texas. So we have it scattered throughout the United States is where we see a lot of the cabbage being grown. And just so you know, cabbage can be found fresh or processed, and if we see it processed as sauerkraut, that's generally fermented cabbage. So the benefits of cabbage and what is really driving our campaign is that it can aid in cancer prevention. So it's part of the cruciferous vegetables, and those can aid in cancer prevention through antioxidants and phytochemicals. And I will mention another study in the next slide that goes over how cabbage has antioxidant properties, but also anti-inflammatory. But the whole cancer prevention part comes from the National Institute of Health. And cabbage also has plenty of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. So cabbage has lots of dietary fiber to help you be regular. It's high in vitamin C, K, and B6. It also has some potassium, manganese, and folate. And the USDA has approved these following labels for cabbage: fat-free, saturated fat-free, very low sodium, cholesterol-free, low in calories, and high in vitamin C. And so obviously most vegetables and also fruit are going to be fat-free and saturated fat-free and all the rest, and generally low in calories. But cabbage is high in vitamin C, which is good. But cabbage also is available at a low cost, and that's another benefit, is that low-income families or people on a budget can't afford cabbage. And we'll see here that the cost of cabbage per pound is about 62 cents for fresh green cabbage. And this data is available from the USDA, or the United States Department of Agriculture, and this is from the Economic Research Service part of it. And so, for reference, one medium-sized head of cabbage is about 2 pounds. So it's very affordable. You can use shredded cabbage in so many recipes throughout the week. So it's a great option, especially if you're going to the farmer's market. And I'll talk more of this later. So what is the research out there for cabbage? Well, there's one study that was published in the Asian Pacific Journal of Cancer Prevention, and this study found that red cabbage was high in antioxidant activity, and Savoy, Chinese, and green cabbage had high anti-inflammatory activity. So these properties can be protective against cancer as they scavenge or kind of get rid of harmful molecules in our body called free radicals, and those would generally lead to oxidative stress, which causes inflammation and cancer in the body. So these properties of cabbage actually can be beneficial. Well, and then we have a second study that looked at genetically modified mice. So this study was published in Immunity. It didn't look at cancer specifically, but it looked at the Brassica genus, which we know that cabbage is in, and how it can be protective against colon cancer, but also promote gut health. So to make things simple, because I know there's a lot of big words in the title of the study, I'm going to try to simplify it. So indole 3-carbinol is a compound that is produced when we digest foods from this Brassica genus. And AHR is a protein that protects us from inflammatory responses to the bacteria that live in our gut. So this protein also helps to repair damaged cells in our gut, and without it, these cells could divide and lead to colon cancer. So the research had their genetically modified mice that couldn't produce or activate this protein, AHR, which we do want and need. And these mice that didn't have it developed gut inflammation and colon cancer. However, the mice that were fed an indole 3-carbinol-rich diet didn't develop cancer and didn't have gut inflammation. So we basically need indole 3-carbinol, which is going to be found in cabbage, to activate this AHR protein, which is found in cabbage as well and other cruciferous vegetables from the same species. So to kind of get away from the research, here is a nutrition facts label for cabbage. So 1 cup of shredded cabbage is going to be 25 calories, 2 grams of dietary fiber, 70% of your daily value for vitamin C, and 10% vitamin A. So as we can see, it's a low-calorie vegetable, but also highly nutritious. Now, when we look at cabbage consumption in the United States, we can see that's kind of gone down from 2000 to 2017. This is data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Economic Research Service again. This chart specifically is from the Statista website, but they compiled all this data into a nice chart already for me, so I don't have to. So we can see the per capita consumption in pounds has gone down. So this is a concern because we know that cabbage is available all year round and that it's nutritious. So why are people not having it as much? So our goals and objectives are to provide individuals between the ages of 25 to 34 years old who are on a budget with healthy recipes and information regarding cabbage. So our objectives are to increase the consumption of cabbage by 2% over 2 years, because as we could see in the previous slide, it's hard to get it to go back up. So we're going to give ourselves 2 years. We also want to obtain over 1,000 followers on each social media platform, so Facebook and Instagram, within 2 years, and I will show you these later on. We also want to have half of our respondents confirm that they incorporate at least 1 cup of vegetable 2 days per week. So we are going to try to look at this through surveys or food demonstrations that I'll also go over later. So our target audience, well, in general, American diets are low in fiber, fruits, and vegetables. And 25 to 34 years old are on a budget looking for healthy options. So that's going to be our target age range. And we want to see the average spending on food at home. So we're looking at this chart down here, and we can see that our age group is kind of in the latter part of the millennial age group, and they have a lower income to spend on food at home. So about 3,974. So this is part of the reason why we chose this age group, is because maybe they're just starting out at a job or they don't have enough money saved, but generally food budget is going to be tight. And here's the median income for millennials. So this is going from age 18 to 34. But we can see that it's generally pretty low. The lowest is in Mississippi with almost $17,000. And the highest is going to be Washington, D.C. with $40,000. So if you think about how much money you make and what the money you can afford, well, if you are making significantly less than that, how much actually can you afford? And obviously it's going to be very difficult to go out to eat and afford expensive foods at the grocery store. And here's the median annual earnings for this age group, 25 to 34, and this is by education. So if you have maybe a 25-year-old who only completed high school, they would only make $32,000. And when you think about it, the more education you have, well, maybe the more loans you have to pay off. So this would also be a concern. And this is the group that we actually want to target, because we can show them how to incorporate cabbage, how much cabbage they can get from one head and incorporate into recipes and take to work. So there's also a survey done by Fleischman Hillard. It was a public relations, or this is a public relations and marketing agency. And so they conducted an online survey with over 2,000 consumers and evaluated their drivers related to food, influence, and behaviors. So some data that I pulled from this was that 91% see food as an important part of their value and belief system, and 35% say that food actually defines who they are and what they believe. So included in the survey was more of a generational piece, so the differences among generations and how they view food, but we can see overall that we see food is actually part of our value and belief system, and that we might identify with what we eat. And more than 80% believe they make a difference, or they can make a difference in the kinds of foods they eat and how they are grown. So that is just something to keep in mind, like where their sources are. Are they from farmers markets? Is it fresh, or is it frozen, or is it processed? So here is a chart pulled from that survey of most important ingredients. So the top 5 total: sugar, protein, vitamins, fat, and fiber, and sodium. But for millennials, which is the age range kind of what we're looking at, would be protein, sugar, vitamins, minerals, whole grains, and fiber. And so cabbage fits with vitamins and minerals and fiber, but it can also be incorporated into recipes with whole grains and other proteins, not so much the sugar part. So our marketing tools, we're going to market with infographics, a recipe book, and a giveaway, which I will show you. We also have social media and a website, and we want to include our social media in all handouts because as we probably have seen, millennials do like technology and like to be on their phones. So that's a way that we can target our audiences through social media and the internet. So I'm just going to close out of this, and in the next video I will go over our social media and finish up the presentation because I'm running out of time.